It's a bit of a sad time. It's a bit of a somber time because it is time for me to make my final Champions League qualifying recap video. Obviously, a lot of different crazy things have happened, but we are going to start with the craziest of them all. The team from southeastern Kazakhstan, Kairat Almaty, has beaten Celtic. They have qualified. We've been speculating, they made it to this level. Now they're guaranteed a spot in the Europa League. No, they went and took care of the whole business. A team that barely survived Slovan Bratislava in penalties in the previous round and was probably the underdog has done the unthinkable. And with a backup goalkeeper in goal for the penalty shootout, they beat Celtic. This was, however, exciting it may have been just like on paper to have a southeastern Kazakhstan team make it, which, by the way, eastern Kazakhstan borders China. So this is about as far away of an away day as you can get. Allow me to pull up Google Maps. Editor's not going to show this part so I don't accidentally dox myself here. But if you find Kairat, if you find the city of Almaty, it's down here. That's China. That's Kyrgyzstan, right? That's, Europe, which ends kind of here, right? There's the Ural Mountains that denote the end of Europe kind of in this northern part. And Kazakhstan obviously has a piece of that and is on the sea over here, the Caspian Sea and all that fun stuff. So Kazakhstan's able to play in Europe through that. But Almaty is definitely not in Europe. It is in a part of the world that the vast majority of us know basically nothing about and will never experience. The steppe, this area between the Caspian Sea and the Tibetan Plateau that is the Wild West as far as I'm concerned. And Almaty has made it. I mean, to me, it's kind of what football's all about. Some people are annoyed about the away day. I would be looking forward to it. If I was a Real Madrid fan, you get to go on a road trip to Almaty, Kazakhstan to watch your team play in a completely unique environment. That's insane. That's amazing. And that's the situation that we're looking at right now. Okay, because Kairat Almaty is going up. They're going to get a Pot 1 team on the road. Pot 1's PSG, Liverpool, Bayern, Real Madrid, Barcelona, right? Like that's Pot 1. One of those teams, one of the top teams, is going to be on the road in Almaty. Nice. I love that. The actual tie itself, unbelievably boring. There were no goals in 210 minutes. It was a scoreless draw in Scotland. It was a scoreless draw in Kazakhstan. Tons of possession for Celtic. You would have expected that. But based off the people that were able to watch, I was streaming at the time, based off the people that were able to watch this match that were reporting to me in the chat on stream, Celtic was uninspired. And not only did these teams not score, they didn't score to such an extent that the first three penalties were a miss as well. 2 for Celtic and 1 over here for Kairat Almaty. Celtic then missed its 5th penalty, going just 2 for 5. I will pull that up for you because the scenes were electric. That's the backup goalkeeper making the save. Everybody going absolutely bonkers in Kazakhstan, because they had to wait. They had to wait to make sure the keeper was on his line. But Kazakhstan now has a team in the Champions League stage. I think for the first time in more than 10 years, I believe, and it's certainly Almaty's first trip, Astana, which is in like northern Kazakhstan, close to the Russian border, they're the team that normally makes it. Like they're the big bullies of the league. So this isn't even the number 1 Kazakh team that's done this. Huge setback for Scotland, right? You've got the best Scottish team now being undone by the best team in Kazakhstan. It's not a good look. Even though Celtic was clearly better, you can't not. I mean, there's going to be no Scottish teams in the Champions League stage, but there will be teams from Kazakhstan and from Cyprus. Okay, I don't mean to be getting ahead of myself here, but Cyprus has now sent a team through as well because Pafos out of Cyprus has beaten Red Star. So there are some new rising stars, if you will, in Champions League play and in Champions League qualifying. Pafos made a knockout run in the Conference League last year, and I think this is the first tangible example we have of a team gaining belief and gaining confidence by making a run in the Conference League and then bringing that into Champions League qualifying. I mean, obviously, the explanation's Pafos is just a good team. They built a good team, but they made their real debut on that European stage, making it to, I believe it was the last 16 of the Conference League. And you're going, who's this Pafos team? And now all of a sudden they've popped up and they're going to the Champions League stage. The second leg was tight. Red Star was able to tie it up in the 60th minute. But then in the they've corrected it to the 89th minute. Pafos scored an unbelievable goal. I'm going to pull it up for you. Just a moment of genius, a moment of inspiration from Gadjet. Let's see if I can give you a few seconds so that you can enjoy this goal without DMCA coming in and kicking my teeth in. So it's a deeper free kick. He pops it up and then just a flick of the foot. Don't really blame anybody on the defensive side. It's just a moment of inspiration. Right? I don't even know if you can blame the goalkeeper here for not being able to get to that. I mean, what is that angle that he's able to get that ball to come in from? I have no idea. But that goal obviously prompts, wild celebrations from the Pafos fans. It's the first time their team's ever going to the Champions League stage, the group stage. And Red Star is going to be disappointed to go down to the Europa League and miss out on that money because they're the team that would have expected to go. So you've got Kazakhstan and Cyprus instantly represented. Another match they just have to mention, Sturm Graz defended its home turf for the 2-1 win. Problem is they lost 5-0 in Norway, so 6-2 on aggregate. Bodo Glimt to the Champions League group stage for the first time. Right, they are in the Champions League proper for the first time ever. It feels weird considering they made like the Europa League semis. They've never been to the Champions League proper. So they're going. They deserve it. Norway's league is obviously on the rise all over the place. Congrats to Bodo Glimt. Sturm Graz at least was able to capture a little bit of pride there. Then there were 4 matches that happened today. Those were the matches that were on Tuesday. And the first one was very, very exciting. Qarabag won 3-1 at Fenerbahce. So I thought Qarabag was going to come home in Azerbaijan and kind of cruise to a victory, but they gave up a goal in the 12th minute. Right, they made it 3-2 on aggregate, then 4-2, then 5-2 on aggregate. Qarabag got 2 goals, 5-2 on aggregate going into the half. But Fenerbahce did not give up on this. They got a pin in the 55th. They got another goal in the 81st, which left a mad scramble to the end of the match, where Fenerbahce was 1 goal away from forcing extra time out of nowhere, but Qarabag is able to hang on. Meaning Azerbaijan's champion has trumped Hungary's champion. And once again, we see Qarabag ascend to the Champions League proper as the only real representative, it seems, of Azerbaijan at any level. They have managed to, with their consistency and their toughness and the abstract away day that they offer to so many teams, kind of battle their way through the gauntlet that is Champions League qualifying. But Fenerbahce, given the way they played in the second half of that match, has to be disappointed. Copenhagen at home against Basel, champions of Denmark, champions of Switzerland. Great showdown. 1-1 in Switzerland. But Copenhagen, such a tough place to play. Right out of the second half, they get a goal from Cornelius, and then Yusufu Moukoko sighting. 84th minute penalty to make it a 3-1 match on aggregate to send Copenhagen through. This is their first time getting into the Champions League since 2 years ago when they managed to ruin Manchester United's entire experience. Moukoko, by the way, was purchased for $5 million by Copenhagen. So he's trying to rebuild his career, scoring in the Champions League, qualifying to get into the Champions League proper. Not a bad way to do that. Then Benfica and Fenerbahce. This is the crushing of Jose Mourinho's dreams. It was 1-0 on aggregate over 180 minutes. The 1 goal was mercifully granted to Benfica after 2 disallowed goals earlier in the first half. Fenerbahce could not find any offense, and then Talisca was ejected in the 82nd minute for throwing an elbow, which made things a little bit harder for Fenerbahce. So Mourinho is headed to the Europa League, a competition that Fenerbahce can be more of a dark horse to actually win, and Benfica survives. Benfica was the better team. They were the better team in both legs, but Mourinho was able to make this an incredibly sweaty, incredibly difficult experience, and the Turkish league is very good. I mean, Duran's coming off the bench, right? They got guys that are dangerous. Then I should be expecting more from the Turkish league than to hang on against Benfica, but that is where we ended up. But then the most surprising result of all, the final Champions League spot. Who would it go to? Club Brugge or Rangers? Well, I said it was a tough night for Scotland, right? Celtic losing, not able to score in 210 minutes against the Kazakh champions is obviously not a good look, obviously a bitter pill to swallow for them. But to have your second best team lose 9-1 on aggregate against a side from Belgium. I mean, it's not like they got a terrible draw here. Club Brugge is definitely a good, dangerous team, but it's the type of team you got to beat to get into the Champions League group stage, right? You got to beat your Red Stars. You got to beat a Celtic, right? You have to beat a Fenerbahce to get through and get into that Champions League proper when you're at this stage. It's not like they got an overly difficult draw. 6-0, I mean, it's capitulation. They got an 8th minute red card and then gave up 4 goals before half, and then the rest of the match is just a formality at that point. I don't care if you get an 8th-minute red card. This is capitulation, and it is the sort of soul-searching, soul-crushing loss that it takes you a long time to get over. And we'll see how this reverberates through Rangers' rest of the season. But it is a wicked defeat. Club Brugge showing that they have built themselves into a real European force over the last couple of years. They've got real talented players. Christos Solis, one of those guys who's got a ton of potential in like Football Manager, popping up in the second half of the goal. They are good. They're dangerous. I think they'll be disappointed if they don't make it to the knockouts of the Champions League again. But Rangers doesn't even have a chance to go there. And the Scottish League, which was kind of getting back into form, you know, Rangers making a European Cup final, Celtic putting on good performances, getting into Champions League proper, whatever. Now they got no Champions League teams. Belgium does, though, in emphatic fashion. But congrats to Kairat Almaty. Congrats to Pafos as debutantes in the Champions League proper. Good luck against PSG.